YouTube. I'm AndreDedmond69, student and minister of action for the reality temple on earth. And I'm making this particular video about the realities temple and how it changed my views and some of my concepts about life. But first I want to say that I want to thank AngelsnupnupSEVEN for being there for me, administering to me over YouTube and in person, over the phone. The brother believed in me to make these videos. He gave me the opportunity. He gave me the free will to make these videos that I make in association with the reality temple on earth. I want to say that if I would have had a brother like this in my life 10, 15 years ago, I probably wouldn't have took the path that I took. But that was my experience. This brother's a good role model for us. You know, he don't drink. He never smoked. He never used drugs. He's not a habitual criminal or any form of criminal. He know what it's like to be locked down and in prison for something he didn't do. He know what suffering is all about. And that's what drew my attention to him in his videos. When people make these videos, first of all, you got to realize that it takes a lot of courage to put your image out there for the world to see. I mean, your image is available for the world. You don't do videos in no fakes. You don't use certain objects to focus your camera on, but just straight out give it the way you give it out the way you got it. Face, voice, everything. So many times when we make videos, you know, you got certain people who like to focus on the surrounding things in our videos instead of focusing on what we have to say. And I think as long as we keep those things in place, we can weave out the people who really want to hear what we got to say, as opposed to those who just here for ulterior motives. They're not here to hear the message. The reality temple on earth is a positive example of what can be done if a person really believes in changing this world. I mean, the reality temple doesn't have a religious base concept, which would only limit us to being free to express ourselves in various different ways and topics. And that's another thing that attracted me to the reality temple on earth. Sometimes our religion can stop us from accepting things and absorbing things. And that right there in itself, to me, is it hinders us sometimes. Now, I'm not going to say I'm against religion, because all religions are good. They have their good points. We need to try to be a part of something that's for the benefit of all people. In our case, particularly black people. Now, many times when we do these videos, certain things are not always perfect. Sometimes we don't always get the message across exactly the way we want to get it across. Sometimes we might pause, stutter, or we might say the wrong thing. But don't focus on that. Focus on the message we're trying to get across. You can view in these videos. You can view into these videos, I'm sorry, and you can get a lot of information that can help you along in your life. Don't knock something before you try to get a better chance of understanding what it's all about. They say experience is the best teacher. And that may be the case some of the time, not all the time. A man who has an arm cut off knows what it's like to have his arm cut off. But in order for you to want to experience it yourself, you got to get your arm cut off, and I'm quite sure you don't want to do that. So experience is not the best teacher. Why don't you try to learn and listen from other people who've been there instead of always trying to find out things on your own? Because that can be a habit that could put you in places and in situations you really don't want to be in. Try to take heed some of the advice that these brothers giving us on YouTube. I think it'll help us in our life, and I think it can change our life. And pass the word around. Share these videos. Talk about these issues. Talk about real issues. Who cares about a video game? Who cares about people running around with balls, throwing them in hoops, and kicking field goals? That's not going to help us in our life. It's not going to help us. That's entertainment. There's no information there that we can use to better ourselves when it comes to sports and any form of entertainment. I am AndreDedmond69, Student Minister of Action for the Reality Temple on Earth. Peace out. What's happening, YouTube? I am the Student Minister of Action for the Reality Temple on Earth, AndreDedmond69. I want to stress something to us real fast. I want to make a couple of points. And in the process of making my points, there will be some questions I would like for some of us to ask if we have the answers to these questions. It's about this crabs in the barrel syndrome that many of us adopt. And I want to say, why is it so hard for us as black folk to accept each other's individuality from a social standpoint? Why do we find it so difficult to do our own thing, dress the way we want to dress, listen to the music we want to listen to, in fear that that we're going to be cast out or stigmatized as being different, and being different is a bad thing? Why is it that we spend more time focusing on each other's differences and ridiculing each other for being different and being ourselves and expressing ourselves to our own individual taste? Many of us feel like just because we're black males that we're supposed to take up this hard-edged thug personality, that we got to act like we ready to whoop the world, when in actuality we're really weak. We adopt these personalities and characters from our favorite rap stars and TV personalities. If our rap stars tell us, well, actually, if they write a song about sipping on scissors, many of us will go out to the store, rush out to these liquor stores, and buy these products to emulate some of our rap stars and TV entertainers. We're followers. We're not really doing nothing constructive, but we acting up on somebody else who's basically telling us what we're supposed to be doing. and what's socially acceptable. Many times we're afraid, like I say, to do our own thing, and we don't want to express ourselves because we feel like we're not going to be accepted, that we're going to be outcasts, or we're going to be perceived as being different, which could lead us to sometimes even get physically attacked. And the people that do this type of thing, who ridicule other people for being different, out of fear that this person is going to move ahead as an individual and we're going to stay the same. And if that person is doing their own thing and it's working for them, that you feel like they're trying to be better than you. Well, I want to say something to people like that. Everyone has a right to be themselves. We don't, as black folks, come out of a mold, and we're not born or manufactured in some factory off an assembly line. We're individuals. If our rap star tell us everyone should be sipping on scissors, or if we watch a movie and they say a certain phrase, we try to use this phrase in our everyday life anytime the opportunity presents itself. We don't know how to be articulate and express ourselves as individuals. If a brother or sister stays to themselves and mind their own business and choose not to socialize with a certain group, we look at them like they're trying to be better than us, when all it is we just being ourselves. That brother didn't do nothing to you. He just doing his own thing. If that sister decides she want to wear her hair natural, and you putting perms in your hair, and your hair falling all out in the back, and you think she trying to be better than you because she wearing her hair the way she want to wear it, you want to start an argument or create a situation where y'all get into a physical confrontation just so you can snatch your hair out of her head because you're jealous. If I see my friend running around here on dubs, I feel like, well, man, I need to get me a car and put some dubs or something on my car to try to emulate everybody else around me. There's no individuality. There's no mindset as to where I could do my own thing and I could be myself and still be accepted. Or somebody come up to you and say, man, I don't like dude because he think he this and he think he that. Majority of the time, this person ain't did nothing to you. What it actually is that this person carrying on doing their own thing, it only reflects to you your shallowness and the fact that you're a follower. You're not a leader, you're a follower. Once you learn how to be your own person, you'll feel more happy for yourself. You'll feel more at ease about you as an individual around your environment. So don't let people influence you or encourage you to do the things they do and to dress and act the way everybody else dressing around them. Because you'll never be happy. You'll never find that peace of mind, and you'll never come to a point of self-actualization. If everybody acted the same way and did things the same exact way each other did, we'll never get nowhere. There will never be black scholars, black leaders, black entrepreneurs. We got to be ourselves. We don't have to follow up behind another group. We don't have to feel it's important to fit in with everybody else in our neighborhood or around us or in our schools. We got to be ourselves. We got to be more content with just being ourselves. And really, that's all I got to say. I'm AndreDedmond69, student minister of action for the reality temple on earth. Peace, and keep it real and keep it tight. What's happening, YouTube? I'm AndreDedmond69, student minister of action for the reality temple on earth. And I'm making this particular video to explain something to you that I think is very important. And I want to say the white racist is a thief. A lot of things that we done and created because we was out there in the fields picking cotton, corn, sugar cane, etc. By us being out there and experiencing this daily work every day, it's natural for a person to come up with different ideas because of their circumstances in order to make their situation a lot better. I want to say that there's a lot of creations that African Americans made as slaves and after slavery that was taken from us and was given, the credit was given to either the slave master, overseer, or these white racists that we was working for who took that idea and made it their own. But in this case, I want to talk about music. Ever since the day we was taken off the ship and we worked as slaves and we was allowed to have these musical instruments from Europe, and when we learned how to play these instruments, we came up with our own soulful musical expression. We still had the concept of rhythm and the beat with the drums. And that comes from us being the original people on this earth. And that's a true fact. No one can dispute that. When we started using these instruments, we showed the white Caucasian different ideas and different ways of expressing itself through music. We amazed them, and we mesmerized these people with our gift for music and rhythm and keeping timing. Now I want to fast forward back to the 40s and 50s. Let's say the 30s actually, when we started coming up with the concept of blues and jazz, rock and roll. Everything that we created, the white racists took credit for it. Now I'm going to go back to the 50s and 60s. If you look at groups like the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, the Yardbirds, and all these particular groups, they got rich for emulating the music that they were hearing from African Americans. They actually taught the white Americans, they showed the white Americans that, hey, you know, you got some great art in your backyard when these people are expressing themselves through their music. The white Americans didn't jump on it until they seen an opportunity to monopolize on our music. They had to take the Englishmen in order for these people to see that, hey, you know what? There's great music in your backyard, you just don't see it. Up until that point, it was just nigga music. If you look at Elvis Presley, he was one of the most greatest white entertainers that ever were. People loved the way he danced. People loved the way he sang and the way he expressed himself. My grandfather told me that a lot of dances that he was doing, black folks was doing that in the 30s and 40s. He used to hang out at these black juke joints And he used to watch the black folks do their thing, play their music, express themselves in their music and in their dance. And he emulated that. And he put a white style to it to attract his people. And he became famous from that. Look at blues. If you listen to a lot of country music, you hear a lot of blues in it, a blues influence in it. So a lot of things that we did in the past with music, they become rich off of it. And we have no credit for it. Muddy Waters. We're playing all this different music all these years. And it took some English white dudes from the 50s and 60s, let's say the 60s, to become famous off of stuff he's been playing for 30 years, before they even heard it. Led Zeppelin, one of the most greatest rock groups ever known, played a lot of blues. Look at Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath. You hear a lot of blues riffs and jazz drums, jazz style of drumming in their music. The drum roll, the constant hitting the cymbals. They learn it from jazz, man. So when a white man try to make himself look like he the creator of all things, especially when it comes to music, he's not really. He's not at all. Not at all, not really. He stole this. And he sold it to other white people that never heard such a thing. So don't let them fool you, man. They steal ideas and other people's art, and they kind of sort of mix it up with their own and make it look like it originally come from them. If it weren't for black folks, Led Zeppelin, Elvis Presley, the Yardbirds, all these groups wouldn't be nothing. I am AndreDedmond69, student minister of action for the reality temple on earth. And I have here a book by the author, Neely Fuller Jr., titled The United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. This is a book with a lot of very vital information that us as black folks should have and be aware of. And I want to say and stress the same thing that Neely Fuller Jr. says, that if you don't understand white supremacy, everything else you know will only confuse you. I want to share also this particular page, which is page 35 of this book, and it's basically giving us an understanding about the two major tactics and tools that white supremacists use to dominate non-whites, and that's deceit and violence, or the threat of violence. I want to also make it you aware that this brother here, he has a talk. He's always on talktainmentradio.com. It's an internet BlogTalk type of approach to his book and describing the things in his book. Here's the information. Here's the phone number and the times. And it's very important that we get a chance to listen to what this brother's talking about. I'm AndreDedmond69, student minister of action for the reality temple on earth. Thank you. What's happening, YouTube? This is AndreDedmond69, student minister of action for the reality temple on earth. And I'm making this particular video today to stress something and to remind us of some things. And maybe even some of us learn something from this video. And it's about avoiding problems. And I want to say that a lot of situations, a lot of troubles that we had, that we've been going through, we realized later on that they was avoidable. And but out of different reasons, we wind up going through it anyway. But first I want to stress something that's very important. And that important thing is this. My father told me right before he passed, he said, Andre, you got to realize one thing, that a lot of stuff you're going through, you ain't going through it because you don't know. You're going through it because you're being stupid. And I'm like, explain to me what you're talking about. Okay, how? You know, I knew he was right, but I wanted to hear it from, I wanted to hear him, lay it on me in his own words. But he asked me a question. He said, Andre, do you know the difference between a dumb person or a stupid person? And I kind of had that idea what it was, but like I said, I wanted to hear it in his own words. So he said that a stupid person, a dumb person, is an ignorant person. They don't know. And people that's around them that does know, it's their responsibility as human beings to another human being to teach this person what they don't know. And sometimes we teach people things and we're not looking for nothing back in return. He said, also, do I know that a stupid person is a person that's the closest you can get to insanity? And I'm quite sure people heard this in different phrases in different ways. He said that a stupid person knows right from wrong and is totally and completely aware of what they're doing, but they psych their mind up and swear their conscience into thinking that it's always going to be different results every time. He said we trick ourselves into thinking that things are going to be different. And I come to the conclusion that, well, from today's experience, I'm going to share something with you real fast. That today I was in the company of a couple people, and when I got around these people, I felt tension, and I kind of seen the hostility in their, in the way they was carrying on with one another. And I sort of made a comment which escalated it and took it out of proportion. Which that was my intention to do that, but my intention was to try to diffuse the problem. But for me just speaking and saying something and trying to make a joke out of this certain situation, it came out to it escalated to a name calling, and I found myself in the middle of a crossfire. And I asked myself, what could I have done to avoid that situation altogether? And I came to the conclusion in that particular situation that maybe I shouldn't have even been there. But in many cases in life, we're going to be in situations where we have no control. We're going to be in them. Then we're going to either encounter them, we're going to either encounter these type of situations, or we're going to start to see these situations escalate around us. And sometimes we got to know how to get ourselves out of these situations. Now, a problem or trouble, let's say trouble. I want to use the word trouble. Trouble is like a puddle on the street. You got your new shoes on, you got your new pants on, and you see a puddle on the street, dirty water. You either walk around that puddle or you trample right through it. And sometimes we be so stubborn, and sometimes we be so, how could I say it, a good word, belligerent, that we just go right through the puddle. I dare this puddle to get my feet wet. I dare this puddle to get my new pants wet, mess up my new shoes. See, that's denial. We're not really facing the fact that we know when we go through this puddle, it's going to get our feet wet. Same thing with trouble. We get arrogant, we get belligerent, and we get stubborn, and we say, you know what, I'm going to go on and go through this situation anyway, and this better not happen, and that not happen. But usually a lot of times, these things do occur, and we already know they can happen. And then we could measure the circumstances and the situation and the trouble with our own tolerance. And we should realize that, hey, you know what? I know how I'm going to react to this situation. So let me just walk around this thing just like I will that puddle. Many times, we put ourselves through situations that's avoidable. Things that we don't have to go through because we decide that we can do what we want to do regardless of the circumstances and regardless of our own personal tolerance towards certain things and situations. A lot of stuff, a lot of situations that we go through, we put ourselves into them things. Us as adults, we are responsible for our own actions. We're not responsible for other people's actions. We're responsible for our own personal actions. So the next time you get in a situation, or you see a situation starting to escalate, or you encounter a situation that's not, how can I say, constructive or that could be detrimental to you, and we decide to go through it anyway, in the results, everybody have their own relation to it as far as their own part of the blame to it. But we can't focus on what everybody else, how they relate to the problem. We got to focus on what part we played in the circumstance situation. And we focus on us. And really, that's all I have to say. But just one thing that we adults. And we got to be adults. Can't be kids no more. We can't blame the fly on the wall or the music somebody playing down the street for our problems. I'm AndreDedmond69, student minister of action for the realest temple on earth. Peace out. What's happening, YouTube? This is AndreDedmond69, student and minister of action for the realest temple on earth. I want to make this quick video to remind us that sometimes, you know, us as black folks, we do things out of impulses or you know, we do things because we react towards each other in a way that's very hostile and belligerent. And many times we create problems and situations with each other out of ignorance. Yesterday I was fixing an apartment. I was actually fixing the window in this new apartment that my daughter's mother live in. And as I was trying to fix the frame flew out the window, fell outside, and hit the ground below. and glass shattered everywhere. The frame was all out the window. Matter of fact, here's a piece to the frame of the window right here. All right? And as I was going out there to clean the glass up, it was some young teenagers, probably some guys in their early 20s. One guy gonna say, man, if that window would have hit one of us, we would have woo, 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 and whooped on, you know. And I asked the dude, I'm like, what do you mean? What you talking about? He was like, man, you don't know what you're doing, and blah, blah, blah. And I told him, I said, first of all, when this lady moved in this apartment building, a lot of stuff wasn't in here fixed. And so they boarded up the windows on the side to make it look as though, you know, there's something wrong. They're not done with those windows. So when I went to go try to move the window fell all the way out on the ground. And I say, if anything, how you going to blame me for the window being in the condition it is in when you should blame the landlord? And so the brother went on and on saying this and that. I said, man, you know what? You're ignorant, man, because you still don't catch my point. My point is that the window should have never been in the condition it was in the first place. So when I try to use the window the way it's supposed to be used and it fall out the frame, the whole frame of the window fall completely out the whole board fall out the frame. The only thing you could do is talk crazy to me. When you should be trying to blame the landlord. Somebody would have got hurt. It would have been my fault. It would have been a mistake on my part, but it would have been negligence on the landlord's fault. He didn't want to say nothing else to me no more because he knew I was telling it like it was. But see, the thing of it is, a lot of times, in many cases, a lot of situations we get ourselves into is avoidable. It's avoidable. I could have went on and went out in left field with this dude, and we could have gotten into an argument, would have wound up into a fight. He'd have had his little punk buddies try to jump me and all that. Might even try to shoot you. We as black folks need to wake up, man, get off that crap. That old gangster lifestyle, that old gangster way of dealing with common situations, that's weak, man. You're weak. You figure every time you get into a situation with somebody, your best thing is to just whoop on them. Every time you get into a disagreement with somebody, you need to check yourself. You ain't doing nothing to help yourself or the next person. Sometimes we think because we can fight and beat people up that we hard and we tough. You weak here. When you resort to violence, that means you're weak in your head. That's what that means. You don't have the mental capacity to deal with a situation, so you resort to violence like an animal. Even a baby come out the womb fighting. Nobody needs to learn how to be hostile or fight. But even an animal fights for a reason. If in certain situations, certain cases, many animals avoid a fight. But we as human beings, with our arrogance and with belligerence and with an attitude like nobody's going to tell me this or nobody's going to do that, we always find ourselves in situations and the end result is death, violence, or jail. Really, man, we need to start learning how to deal with our problems as adults. We need to start using our brain. We need to start analyzing the circumstance, the situation we're in, and come to the agreement that, hey, you know what, this wouldn't be in my best interest to go no further with this conversation or the circumstances because you know where it's going to lead to. You can't even go to a party without somebody wanting to fight because somebody stepped on their shoe or some dude looked at them the wrong way. And there's always a fight after every party. Somebody always want to hurt somebody. Somebody go to the party looking for a fight. If what you like to do is fight, why don't you try to get paid for it? Because all you're doing is making yourself look like a damn fool. to anybody with any kind of intelligence. I'm AndreDedmond69, student minister of action for the reality temple on earth. Peace out. What's happening, YouTube? I'm AndreDedmond69, student and minister of action for the reality temple on earth. In this particular video, I'm stressing something that needs to be stressed, something that needs to be pointed out, and what it is different levels of understanding for other people. See, when we make videos and we're trying to reach people and we're trying to get people to understand what we're talking about, we have to tone down a lot of vocabulary words. And if you're trying to give people insight and teach people certain things that will benefit them, we have to tone down the vocabulary words, man. Because a lot of people ain't going to understand what you're talking about. And also that goes for speaking in hypothetical language, using certain abstract analogies, and using a lot of evasive phrases and comments. People don't want to try to connect the dots, man. If you're trying to teach somebody, and if you're trying to reach somebody, you don't want to make it harder for them to understand you. You want to be very clear and to the point about what you're saying. You're going to lose your audience, especially if you're trying to wake these people up or teach them. And then many of us, we use a lot of phrases and words that sometimes other people can take to offense. They can find it's very offensive when you use certain words, and then they got to have a dictionary right there to try to figure out everything you're saying. So I suggest we should just try to tone down with a lot of the vocabulary words and just, talk just basic, straight up English, man, to our best ability. You got some people running around on YouTube using all these big words, trying to put other people down that really don't understand you. Then you want to brag about, I'm a college degree and I'm this and I got a degree in that. Who cares? How is that going to help your audience? Unless you figure in that way you're going to inspire them. But as long as they can't understand what you're talking about, for nothing. And just because you're a high school graduate or a college graduate, whatever, don't mean you can articulate your points for the average person to understand you. Because the person on your level of intelligence and your level of education, which is really two different things, they're not interested in what you got to say anyway. Because 9 times out of 10, they probably already know what you're rapping about. When we make these videos, we're making these videos to the common, average, everyday person. The common, average, everyday Joe and Sue. So, if you want people to understand what you're talking about, be more articulate. I'm AndreDedmond69, student and minister of action for the reality temple on earth. Peace. What's happening, YouTube? I'm AndreDedmond69, student and minister of action for the reality temple on earth. I'm sorry, just get a little tongue twisted at certain times. I'm making this video, and maybe the title of this video would be along the lines of what I don't like about white supremacists. But first I want to describe that a white supremacist is not a person riding around with swastikas or with Klans outfits, screaming they're hating black folks and committing these individual racial motivated acts and crimes against people. A white supremacist is a world system. It's the way it's the way the system is set up. It affects the way we think, the way we conclude our reality, and the way we perceive the world. A white supremacist is a person who, whether they're consciously or subconsciously, from their actions or their beliefs, who believe that they're superior, even in the most minute circumstances and ways that they carry on this evil. You ever seen a white person, a group of white people, who when you come into their presence and they see you in their presence, they stop talking? It's like all of a sudden they get quiet until they realize that they're being quiet because of your presence. And then they decide to carry on this little blase conversation until you're out of sight. Me and a white associate of mine about 5 or 6 years ago, we talked about racism and we did a test. And he would go around certain groups of people that I could find who would stop talking around me and see if they would carry on the conversation in his presence when he all of a sudden pop up on the scene. And out of 17 times, 15 of those times that they stopped talking when I came into their presence. I learned a lot from him just from doing that. I don't realize how far he thought what he was teaching me was going to take me in my belief system and in as far as me being more knowledgeable about that type of reality, but it's true. I don't like the fact that these people, they lie because of the convenience. A white racist will lie more or less because it's more convenient to tell a lie than to tell the truth at that point in time. As long as you suffer in silence, they're not really concerned about you suffering at all. A lot of times when people, non-whites, are being discriminated against, 90% of the times you're totally oblivious to being discriminated against in the first place. You could be laying in your bed and these people could plan and plot against the truth for their benefit. You need to learn how to spot these people out. A lot of times, the white supremacists, they plot the night before how they're going to approach you the day before. These people constantly, always plotting and scheming against the truth. And the truth is their enemy. They feel because they're white, that they're privileged, and that they're rulers of the world. And I wouldn't at one moment deny the fact that they are rulers of this world. They're the prince of this world. The white supremacists. Now I'm using an adjective. An adjective describes a certain thing in particular. Not just generalizing a thing. Like if I was to say a ball, I would just be using the general statement as a ball. But if I say a green ball, then I'm using an adjective in order to express, to describe a certain thing in particular. So let's get that straight. Why do white people have a problem with black people even thinking or talking about the idea of black unity? Because they're so used to us being the way we are, divided, just pitiful, that they can imagine as bad as it is the way it is now, that it would be far worse for them. It would be less in their benefit if we were unified. These people, they do everything they can to discourage us from unifying. They do everything that they can to try to keep us divided, keep us at a point of distrust towards each other. And they use this by certain tools, deception. They find weak points in a person. They learn more about you, and they use these things that you like and dislike to control you and manipulate you. And they always do it to where they can pit us against each other. But they got to create the distrust. But before they create the distrust, they got to find your weak points. The things that you like, dislike, and fear can be your weaknesses. And they use that against us. We have to be a little bit more aware that this goes on all the time when you come in contact with these people. These people do not want us to be united, because that would mean that they wouldn't be easy for them to victimize us. These people rely on your ignorance. The white racists, the white supremacists, because there's almost two different things to me. Because a person don't have to be a racist to be a white supremacist. They ain't going around saying they hate black folks, but they believe they're superior. Even the ones that come to your door and want to help you and try to do everything they can to help the black kids in the community. Some of these people are white supremacists too, because they feel like because of the position they're in that they can do things to help you. And as long as you looking up to them, they feel superior. They feel like they got power. Do not trust these people. They're liars. They're deceivers. They're doing everything they can to keep you from knowing the truth. They use the truth to a certain extent, and then they put their own twist in it to get you to come to a state of mind as to where they can dominate you and they can keep you in the same place. As long as they know what you're thinking and know where you are, they got the advantage. You have to be very careful when you're talking to these people and when you're dealing with these people in your interactions with them. You have to be very careful about what the white supremacist says out their mouth. You got to be very careful and listen to every word they say, and don't hesitate to ask them questions about things they say, because they speak with a forked tongue. They'll say one thing but mean a totally different thing. They say things in a way as to where they're not very direct. They're not very definite in the things they say. They say things in a way where they can turn around, depending on how the outcome comes, they can say they meant this instead of they meant that. Got to be careful about that, because it's their way of deceiving you. I want to say something. White man, you're not the ruler of the world because you're smarter than everybody else, because you have this high capacity for technology and intellectual understanding, or whatever you want to call it. You took everything you learned from other cultures and you found a way to use it against them. You're not smarter than anybody else. You're just a liar. What's happening, YouTube? This is AndreDedmond69, student administrator of Action for the Realities Temple on Earth. This particular video is a reminder to let everyone know, some of our viewers from YouTube and some of the people that leave comments on some of the pages of our videos, that we finally got it going where we're going to be having blog talks. And we have a blog talk scheduled for this Sunday, August 29th, from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time. The topic for this particular blog talk is blacks attacking blacks on YouTube. I just want to make a quick opinion, and then I'm going to give you the information, the call-in number, and hopefully we can get you to call in, listen in. And there is a possibility after that 1 hour is up that we will have some more extended time to talk about things off the record now. We don't, once that hour is up, after 8 p.m., Central Time on the Blog Talk, there will be not an open forum, but more or less a sort of a rap session where we can all talk and give some of our opinions about different issues and concerns that we all have. Hopefully, we can come together and work as one for the one common goal. And you know what that goal is, to uplift our people and to make our people aware of the reality of what kind of world and what kind of government that they're living in. I just want to say something before I give you that number and that information. When we spend more time and effort attacking each other, they don't know different than us attacking each other on the street. If you want an argument, all you have to do is go up the street or in front of your doorstep or around the corner, and I'm quite sure there'll be other blacks who will be willing to fight with you and to scrapple with you in that manner. But when we do these blog talks, we want constructive value opinions, something of a constructive value. We're not doing this to play games, okay? We're not doing this to, this is not something that we're trying to do to entertain anyone. This is real business here, okay? And the number for that blog talk is 347-989-0945. We like to have you here. Particularly, we want some of the people that leave comments, whether they're in favor or opposing our subject matter in our videos, to call in. And hopefully we'll have enough time for you to get in there and say what you want to say, and you can we can have an open dialogue back and forth about the subject matter in our videos, whether you oppose it or whether you're in favor of it. So again, the number for that is 347-989-0945. Okay, my name is AndreDedmond69, student minister of the Realities Temple on Earth. I'm going to end it with that. Peace out, keep it tight, and stay strong. What's happening, YouTube? I'm AndreDedmond69, student minister of action for the Realities Temple on Earth. And this particular video is based upon liars and lies. Now, first of all, I want to say that we humans, so we all have the tendency and the urge to tell a lie. And sometimes you have lies, other lies that are smaller than, well, other lies that are bigger than other lies, or other lies less devastating than the others, or more devastating than the others, however you want to put it. But I want to focus on lies that harm people. Now, first I want to say straight on, let me get this straight. I'm not talking about lies as far as lying about who drunk the last soda pop in the freezer, or you lied and told your parent that you took the garbage out when you haven't really gotten around to it yet. I'm talking about lies that create problems, and not only for ourselves, for other people. You got to realize that when we tell lies, we harm ourselves and we harm other people too. Sometimes people get into situations and they lie about them, and then when things start to hit the fan, they want to try to disassociate themselves from the problem. I want to say that if you meet someone new, your best option is to be honest and be straightforward about things that matter, about important, critical issues. If I meet a woman and I know she's starting to like me, I'm going to let her know, you know, up in the door, that I'm not ready for a monogamous relationship. I want us to remain as friends. I want my options to stay open. When we pretend, we hurt people. And that's something we got to really be careful with. Just be straight up, be straightforward, don't lie. That's something I'm practicing with right now. It's being honest about my lifestyle and what I'm into, as far as, do I want to settle down or do I not want to settle down? Lies are never going to benefit you in the end. They're only going to bury you. And you're only going to hurt yourself. And you could hurt other people. And sometimes, in certain cases, the people that we lie to will become resentful, and they will try to do things to hurt us. Even attempt physical attacks against us when we lie to them. Now we got to say, well, a minute, now I lied, but I don't see no reason why this person would want to hurt me. That's all a part of the game. That's all a part, I mean, you're dealing with people's emotions. In a liar's mind, they feel like they must lie in order to get where they want to be or to get the things that they want. And then they will tell you scripts. When you're dealing with a liar, you could ask them questions, and when you ask them yes or no questions, you never get a yes or no answer. They'll go around the issue. They'll even try to change the subject, and they'll try to bury the comments among other things that they're saying to try to keep from having to deal with that. When you're dealing with people like that, you want to find out their lie, you got to specifically ask them certain questions about comments that they make or certain things that they do. Be aware when they try to change the subject or try to minimize what it is, wherever it is that they're that you don't understand about them. Is a pizza without cheese? Is a birthday cake without candles and all the toppings that go on it? It's a matter of how you relate to it, your own personal opinion about it. So we can't, a lie is not from your own point of view. Something either is or it isn't. Either a cake, a birthday cake, or it's not. Is a pizza without cheese, or is it something else? See, when you're dealing with people, things should gel together. Things shouldn't be out of whack. Things shouldn't be hard to understand. But one thing I'll tell you, another thing about a liar, when they bring something to you, it's like a puzzle. And you'll find two things wrong with that puzzle. Either the pieces of the puzzle are missing, that means they're hiding something, or either the pieces of the puzzle don't fit. That means that you know it's a lie somewhere in that mix. Learn how to decipher between that. Learn how to understand that. I'm AndreDedmond69, Student Minister of Action for the Reality Temple on Earth. Peace. What's happening, YouTube? I want to add something onto my video entitled Liars and the Truth Made Known. That I want to say something directly to liars. That many times you people lie for different reasons. Some of you are pathological liars. Others are compulsive liars. But you got some liars out here to do things for their own gain, which I guess you would say it would probably cover all the different kinds of liars. But then again, you got some people who lie just to create problems, just to see a lot of destruction. I want to say something to you. You could dress the way you want to dress. You could make all the money that you could possibly make. You could drive the best cars. You could wear the newest gear. You're still a liar. You're still a troublemaker. Everywhere you go, you create problems. You may not be responsible for a lot of violence or things that happen after the aftermath, but you always set the chain in motion. You rejoice in seeing other people miserable. Some of you. And some of you can't help it. You just lie before you even, the first thing come out of your mouth is a lie. I can't stand liars. And I can't stand procrastinators and pretenders. People, if you come in contact with someone and you have a feeling that they're a liar, you need to let that person go. And you need to let them go real fast, real quick. Now this is a short video, and I made this real plain about my opinion about liars. AndreDedmond69, student minister of action for the reality temple on earth. Peace. What's happening, YouTube? I am a student minister of action, AndreDedmond69, and I'm doing this particular video where a lot of us can relate to. It's about trying to not necessarily mentor people, but to try to get people to try to help them in their problems, try to get them to realize what the steps that they're making that's putting them in these bad situations that they're in, that these detrimental situations that they're in. I want to say something, and I realize this from time and time again, over and over again, dealing with different people. And I know this, that when you're trying to help a person, trying to save a person from drowning, and you swim all the way out in the deep end where they are, and you try to pull them back in, if these people panic, and they can only focus on the fact that they're drowning and not on the fact that you're trying to help them, you could drown too. Now, what I mean by that in this case is, when you're dealing with people that's in denial about their situations and circumstances, and they become so used to living a certain type of way, and this way that they're living, that they're heading down a slope to destruction. It's like a downward slope, is what I meant to say. I mean, you're trying to pull them up. If they refuse to try to help them, they can pull you down the slope too. You got a lot of people that live in denial. You got a lot of people that are comfortable in ignorance. It's a word that goes, ignorance is bliss. It's a phrase, ignorance is bliss. You got some people that live in so strong a denial that if you tell them, hey, see that book right there? If you lift that book and look at that one word, it'll answer all the questions to your life that you don't understand. You got some people that never lift that book because they don't want to know. Because being aware of your reality makes you responsible for your actions. So they don't want to know. They don't want to understand. You got to learn how to recognize these people. You can do everything you can. You can set example. You can get them to compare certain things with other things, simple things in simple terms, and then say that's all the same principle. They still don't get it. Some of them don't want to get it, and others don't get it because they're so used to living a different way. And they're so used to dealing with people that enables them, that keeps them where they are. Whether they stay in one place or they still going slowly down that downward slope to destruction. You got to learn when to let these people go. You got to realize that your present situation can get worse than what it was in the beginning when you started dealing with this person. This person is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is keeping you where you at and moving forward for yourself. I done got myself in a lot of trouble trying to get people to see the truth. And in many cases, when you try to help people that's in denial and you try to get them to focus on their problems and why the situations they're in, they'll turn on you. They so used to dealing with people that tell them what they want to hear. When you tell them what they need to hear, they'll take that as personal attacks against them. They'll take that as personal attacks. That you criticizing them. That you belittling them. When all you trying to do is get them to see why they're in the situation they're in and what things that the choices and decisions that they make that put them in the situations they in. They'll turn on you. And they'll go right out and seek other people to tell them what they want to hear. And as long as they do that, they're still going down that, they're heading down that downward slope. So if you see a person drowning and you go out there in the deep end and try to help pull them back in, and they panicking and everything and pulling you back out with them, you got to think about your own life. You can't concern yourself with their life because they're putting your life in jeopardy. They're putting your present situation in jeopardy. You got to learn how to let them go. Because I guarantee you, if you help a person that don't want to be helped, you're going to put yourself in a dangerous situation. You can tell these people to focus on this, to consider these things around them, and to look at the reality around them, but instead of trying to focus on the reality around them, because they're so used to not dealing with their reality and seeking people out to tell them what they want to hear, they'd rather stick their head in the sand and pretend like the things that's going on around them is not happening. I don't want to call these people fools, but I like to use the word self-deception. I'm AndreDedmond69, student and minister of action for the reality temple on earth. Peace. What's happening, YouTube? I'm the student and minister of action for the reality temple on earth, AndreDedmond69. And this is a special video I'm doing for a special reason. And this type of subject matter, I hope somebody can take and use to their advantage and maybe help them along in their relationships and even understand some of the past relationships they've been with so they don't have to repeat the same thing over and over again. And it's about, can we really trust the people we're with? And can we really trust ourselves? Now, first I want to start off with ourselves. I want to make it clear that as long as you're still finding other people attractive, sexually attractive, and you have that wandering eye, and it's almost like a habit, that's a good indication that you're not ready for a relationship. Because many times that leads to us making ourselves available and putting ourselves in situations where we can be available for interaction with these people that we find attractive. Now, lust can be the motivating factor or infatuation with us becoming attracted with someone. So many times we think we're in love with somebody and it's not love, it's lust. So we have to be aware of that, because the primary reason why you're attracted to this person because you're sexually attracted to this person. Okay? Keeping friends out of our problems. You know? A lot of times we let our friends know everything that's going on in our relationships. We let everybody know what the problem is and the reason why we're having the problems that we're having. And if your friend doesn't act in your best interest, or maybe sometimes your friend might want the person that you with, they will find a crack. Every time you tell them what's going on, your problems in your relationship, they'll find a crack in your relationship and they'll work at that crack and just completely destroy or disassemble your relationship altogether so that they can be with that person later on. Or sometimes these people can't keep a relationship themselves, and so they're envious. They might not want the person you with, but they just don't want to see you in a relationship because misery loves company. And then sometimes you got people who feel like, well, I don't like him, so I don't think you should be with that person either. So they will work at cracks in your relationship too, and just pry at the cracks until it falls apart. Now, as far as you trusting the person that you with, I want to stress something about red flags, okay? Be aware and be conscious of a partner who guards their phone, who takes their phone everywhere they go inside the house. They take it to the bathroom with them, whether they're on the toilet, in the shower. Sometimes they even take it out to the garbage. When they're taking out the garbage, I'm sorry. And the number one thing with that is they always had a volume down. That's a red flag. Be aware of their constant changing the passwords on their emails, or logging into their, actually turning their computer on, things of that nature. Very secretive about when they're on and off the computer, when they're on their phone and not. Those are indications, and those can be red flags too. Be aware of your partner when they call you and they're not at home, when it's real quiet in the background. Also with that, their absence around you is always at certain times, certain places. Unaccountable time, where they won't account for where they've been and what they've been doing. Now, I'm not telling you to distrust your partner, but just look for those, because those can be red flags. Now, I want to say something. I want to share something with you real fast, and I'm going to end this video. You got to have trust in your relationships, because if you don't have trust, you don't have a relationship. It's weak. You got something else that can lead to trouble. Now, I'm not making this video to get people to argue with their partners or to create strife in your relationship, but I'm just trying to make people aware of different ways we do things to strengthen our relationship, or to let a relationship go if it's not for the benefit of you and your partner. A lot of times we put ourselves in situations because we're lonely, or we feel like we don't want to be by ourselves. And many times for most women, they feel fulfilled as long as they have a man in their life, no matter what this man look like. They're not concerned about the man his personality-wise. They're only concerned about the exterior person. He got a nice car, he got a nice body, he looks pretty good, the physical aspect of the man. But this man can be very abusive, and he can be just a straight asshole. You know what I mean? So you got to be aware of that too. Don't judge a book by its cover. A lot of young girls, they fall for guys for exterior reasons, when actually they're putting themselves on a chopping block. They might as well stick their head in the lion's mouth, because it's going to get chopped off. A man can tell when you're weak. A man can tell when you're desperate. And a man can always tell when you got low self-esteem. And that goes vice versa for a lot of men. You a sugar booty daddy, a guy come over there and he all they want is your money. You pay a couple bills, you move in, you pay a couple bills, and before the week of the money's out, they can kick you out for some reason that they come up with. Or people create situations and arguments so they can be gone, so they can do their thing. That's a reason for them not to call, or you to call them, because that's the time when they can really get loose and do their thing. And be aware also when your partner goes places, always chooses to go places or be around people or family members that you don't get along, their family members that you don't get along with. And, or their family might not like you and don't want you to call their house or something like that. Be aware of that too, because those are factors as well. So I'm going to leave it at that. I felt I had to make a video about that. If you got any comments or questions, jot them down. And it's a possibility, hopefully if I do get the comments, I can make a second part or even a third part to this. But those are just some basic stuff that I wanted to put out. Hopefully you do comment, and then I can go further with a little bit more detail and use some examples that that I'm aware of and I experienced myself. So peace out, keep it tight, keep it real, and I'll be getting back with y'all soon. Thank you. What's happening, YouTube? I'm the Student Minister of Action for the Reality Temple on Earth, AndreDedmond69, and this is the second part of my video titled Cheating on Your Partner / Spouse is a Good Thing? ? A YouTube user, who I'm not going to disclose their name or anything in particular about them, left a comment on my page saying that this video came at the right time and that they're involved in a 6-year marriage, and a old boyfriend that you had in high school contacted you or left a message on your Facebook page, and you started having those old feelings again. And maybe that's what it might have been, or maybe you just feel like, hey, I'm glad to hear from you, how's it going? I want to say that be aware of the self-deception, because realizing that you're in a 6-year relationship and considering the fact that you know how your true feelings are about that person from the past, and you can rekindle something that can destroy your relationship. Don't open the door for it. If you accepted this person's Facebook friend, you can cordially dismiss that, because you know what it can lead to. Because self-deception is a very, very strong thing to many of us. And then you got a lot of people who their present relationships can be destroyed through these MySpaces and Facebook and local spaces, because they allow themselves to correspond with people who have a ulterior motive. And sometimes we have ulterior motives to corresponding with certain individuals, whether they're from the past or somebody new, or somebody that like your pictures and want to correspond with you and get a chance to have dialogue with you through the internet. You got to learn how to stop that. Realize that we're human beings and we have sexual urges, and we got to learn how to take control of that. But it all starts here in the mind. Don't allow yourself to be deceived. Don't allow yourself to start wanting to get a chance to open yourself up for other people, thinking that it's okay, and that it's an innocent attempt to try to communicate with other people outside your relationship. Because what can start on the internet can become a physical thing, and you could completely destroy everything that you have with the person you're with right now. I'm going to give you an example, but it's not about Facebook or MySpace page. That'll probably be at a different time. I was married, and I had a friend that was a single guy, whether you want to call him a player or whatever. And he, you know, he was dating different women at different times, and I still remained this guy's friend. And there was on a few occasions where he would always try to hook me up with other women. And his philosophy was, hey man, you know, what she don't know ain't gonna hurt her. And I was in love with my wife, even though we had a lot of problems. We had a lot of communication problems between me and her. But I always knew in the back of my mind that if I allowed myself to be put in certain situations, or if I place myself in these kind of situations, what they can lead to. Something small can lead to something big. One time he called me to his crib. He said, hey man, you know, we got a little blunt session going. And man, why don't you bring one? And I got a couple more friends that's going to slide through, and they're going to bring one. We all going to sit down, watch a movie, and, you know, have a session. So I'm like, okay, cool. So when I got there, it was a guy there, and it was another female who I recognized from him being with all the time, this girl they used to date. And we sat there, we opened up on the session, and then the other guy finally left, and I realized at the time that it was just me and him and his girl there. Well, then somebody knocked at the door. He was like, hey man, somebody coming. You know, somebody I want you to meet. So it was a female. And we came and we started smoking. I wasn't really thinking because I was more focused on the movie and the little conversation that we was having. And then I started realizing that this person was directing a lot of their comments and was trying to engage me in a one-on-one conversation. And after like about an hour or so, I started realizing like, hey, wait a minute, something ain't right here. This don't feel right. And I excused myself from that predicament. I didn't want to get myself involved in something which can lead to something or even appear to be something that it's really not. Many times we allow ourselves to put ourselves in situations that we want to be in. You have a guy that smokes crack. He said he's quitting, and he would always, the urge for that high would always put him around people, places, and things where he likely to use again. He said, I'm going down to visit one of my boys, and we just gonna kick back, have a couple beers, or watch a game, knowing that this man run a crack house. He putting himself right back where he can relapse again. You got to learn how to recognize when you're starting to deceive yourself and trick yourself into doing something that could cause you a lot of trouble in the end. Many of us in relationships, we've been in a relationship for a while, so everything seemed normal after a year, you know, after a certain amount of time, year after year, or month after month or whatever, the grass started looking greener on the other side. But of course we know that the grass is never actually always greener on the other side, but it appears that way. Recognize that, and then don't allow yourself to cross that line. Because this old boyfriend that you had in high school, and I don't mean to sound profane or perverted in any kind of way, but he can be texting you and pressing the send button on one hand and have his penis in the other hand. You know, that's the whole meaning and the whole reason why he's texting you or messaging you, hoping that he can rekindle something, or hoping that he can have some type of physical relation with you outside your marriage. So don't allow that to happen. I am AndreDedmond69, student and minister of action for the reality temple on earth. Peace out, and thank you. What's happening, YouTube? I'm AndreDedmond69, Student Minister of Action for the Reality Temple on Earth. And I'm making this video. It's not exactly a response video, but someone gave me the idea to make this video. And so this message actually goes out for this individual too. I'm not going to disclose who that name is or her username, but she left a message on my page basically telling me that where she lives, that there's not any good men there. And then she went further to also add that she liked to dress where she shows her feminine figure, her physique, or whatever you want to call it. She's saying just because she dressed a certain way, men think she's a hoe, and that she's expressing herself through her dress. And I want to tell her that, hey man, you know, it's cool for you to dress that way. If you want to dress that way, that's your own prerogative. That's your own business. But I want to say something. I'm not going to encourage you to dress any way different, but I'm going to speak from a man's perspective, because I'm a man, and I know how we tend to view women by the way they present themselves in public. If you dress the tight pants, them jeans with the waist come all with the belt come past the waist all the way down, and your thumb showing, when you bend or twist the sides of it, you can see your thumb all through the pants, back of your pants, on your back. If you wear shirts where the cleavage showing and they can almost damn near see your nipples and all of that type of thing, you wear these old flamboyant outfits that draw a lot of attention to you, you're making sexual suggestive displays. You're displaying yourself in a sexual suggestive manner. You can't find a good man. There's no good man in your town. When you dress that way, you're only baiting yourself for the predators. And a lot of the good men might be good men, but since you're dressing that way, they probably figure you're an easy piece of tail. You might pass up a lot of good men, because there are a lot of men who don't want their women to dress that way. But then again, every woman has the right to dress the way they want to dress. So that's a dilemma for a woman like you. If you wanted to be treated like a lady, then you have to present yourself like a lady in the public eye. You may have a person who lives in a real bad neighborhood who know these neighborhoods have gangs, and a lot of the gangs identify the opposite gang or the rival gang with colors. And they decide to, you know what, I'm going to wear any color I want to wear, which you do have a right to wear any color you want to wear. And considering the fact that you know that there's gangs that identify each other by colors, you decide, well, I have a right to put black and red on, and you're going to go in the color where they red, blue, and black, because you have that right. And I agree with you 100%, but you got to consider the fact that that could cause you problems. You're not considering the reality of what kind of environment you're living in. But you expect, because you wear any color you want to wear, that you're not going to have problems. Quit fooling yourself. Now back to this situation with these women who feel like they can't find a man. If you want a good man, I can't tell you how to get a good man, but I can tell you this. Maybe it's the way you dress is what attracts these type of men with this predatory disposition as to where, oh man, she dressing this way, oh man. All they look at is a possibility of having sex with you. They don't care about your personality or what your interests are and whether you're into poetry or into philosophy. They don't give a damn about that. So take that in consideration when you start looking for somebody that you can have a relationship with. Something everlasting, possibly even marriage. I'm going to say this one more time. If you put yourself out there like you a hoe, a man going to perceive you as a hoe. If you dress a certain way, walking down a certain street, and it's a street known for prostitutes being there, you know you ain't a prostitute, but you wearing these provocative, sexually suggestive clothing, and someone rides up on you and blow the horn at you, don't get mad. Because you got two things that you're not considering. What you're dressing like and where you at. I'm AndreDedmond69, student and minister of action for the reality simple on earth. That's all I got to say. Hopefully I ain't got to go through this again. Peace out. What's happening, YouTube? I am AndreDedmond69, student and minister of action for the reality simple on earth. And I'm doing this particular video right here about my responsibilities and my liabilities for things I did in the past. When I was in my mid-20s, I was into conning people. And I knew a couple young guys who used to hang out, used to come around, used to like to hang out with me. And I knew these guys was out stealing and doing the things that they was doing to get the money that they was having. And I never really tried to stop them. In fact, I even actually taught them how to scam people better than what they was doing. I gave them new ideas, more smoother approaches to scamming people. And I just want to share something with you that I'm the cause of one person losing their life. And I'm responsible for a young man who lost all his fingers. But I want to start off with the young man who lost all his fingers. I taught him how to scam people out of money. And at some point, he scammed the wrong person. And when they caught him, they cut all his fingers off. I seen him in the county jail maybe 5 or 6 years after that, and I noticed, when I seen him, I was talking to him, but I didn't notice his hands until later. And I was wondering why they kept calling him Pom Pom in the county jail. And I come to find out this man ain't got no fingers. Now, it's wrong for ripping people off in the first place, but this guy knew no limitations. I mean, there was no line that would be crossed when he was doing the things he was doing. He'd do it to anybody, any chance he seen an opportunity. Another guy I know, he was 19 years old. I showed him how to rip people off, drug dealers off, and drug users off. I showed him how to make a lookalike substance. And I told him to take the real stuff and sell the real stuff to a guy, and then come around later and do the drop and may offer him a deal of a nice little sum of drugs, which was a lookalike substance, and that'll be his drop. Well, he sold on somebody else's turf, which I told him, don't ever, whatever you do, don't never sell on nobody else's turf. Well, he ended up doing that, and maybe a week or two after I showed him how to do that, they found him dead right on the very spot where he sold the lookalike substance to these gang members, to their customers, one of their best customers. And I want to say that maybe 2 or 3 years after that, I used to see his mother here and there, and she knew who I was, and I was never able to bring myself to admit that I'm the person that showed her son how to get himself killed. I was never able to admit to the young brother, the 17-year-old at the time, that I was the cause for him getting his fingers cut off. And I used to ask myself over and over, God, why am I still here? And from learning from my experiences, I realized that I have to take what I know and try to save as many people as I possibly can from going down the road that I went down. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people that went down the road that I went down, a lot of them dead, in jail for a long time, are strung out here on drugs. If I could take those years back, I would in a heartbeat, but I can't. I got to move forward. So the only thing I can do is try to contribute much as I possibly can to people, to my viewers on YouTube, and hopefully they will get a chance to share these things to younger people and encourage these younger people to try to change their lives and show them an example what kind of lifestyle it leads them to. The lifestyle that they live in, it'll lead them on a downward slope. I want to say that I used to lie a lot too. And I want to say something about lies, and I'm going to make this quick and I'm going to end this video. A lie is like a shovel, okay? And every time you tell a lie, you dig a hole. And every time you try to lie to cover up your actions, you take that dirt and you throw that dirt right on top of your head. What's in the dark come to light. The truth will come out at some point in time. It's all a matter of time. So when we constantly lie and get ourselves in situations where it's hard for us to get out, we actually dug a hole, and every time we try to pull ourselves out, more dirt come down on us. So I want to say being honest and honesty in itself is your best option through life. I wish I could take those years back. I wish I could take those things I've done back, but I can't. But when I found the reality temple on earth, it inspired me to try to share some of my experiences and try to help people for the better. I want to thank AngelsnupnupSEVEN for all he done to help me put my experiences out on YouTube, and hope someone would take them for advice and try to use what I give them for their own good. I'm AndreDedmond69, student and minister of action for the reality temple on earth. Thank you. What's happening, YouTube? This is AndreDedmond69. I'm making this video right here, and this particular video goes out to a username who goes by Eisenbrick, and that is spelled I-Z-E-N-B-R-I-C. All right, I'm not exactly sure how you yourself pronounce that, but that's the way I read into it, you know, as far as what your username is. You made a video where you had Brother AngelsnupnupSEVEN and Brother T-Mont, where you was using their pictures in your videos, and you was using a lot of disrespect And I believe that the title of your video was something similar to why you are angry or why you hate the black elders. And you also expressed how you felt like they wasn't there for you, and that we was out here using drugs and smoking crack and doing all this when we should have actually been there supporting the younger generation. And I want to bring something to your attention, and I want to run it to you just like this, man. We not your daddy, all right? If you feel that strongly about how the older generation, the parenting generation from you wasn't there for y'all, you got to look beyond that. And you got to look at a lot of things that was going on as we was coming up and growing up in our communities. Okay. I don't know if you know anything about white flight. I don't know if you know anything about segregation and the unequal playing field that blacks have to deal with on a daily basis in their life. So you ain't taking none of that in consideration. You just looking at it from a one-dimensional view. You got to realize one thing, bro, that there's a generation coming up behind you that's going to be looking for you to give them answers to a lot of questions that they have about life and about the environment that they living in. But if you're going on carrying on doing drive-bys and flashing these brothers' names up on your videos, flashing their pictures and putting their names up on these videos, using all this disrespect and this degrading way you handle your issue, that's not helping the situation at all. That's not, it has no constructive value whatsoever in what you're doing. And from my own personal opinion, you carrying on like the enemy. You know what I'm saying? If you're not the enemy, you carrying on like you're an agent of the enemy, and you know who that enemy is. You need to get a grip, and you need to look a little bit more deeper. You need to think. Use this, man. Use your head. Use this, and look beyond the thing that you already see there, and look behind that. Try to find out why things are the way they are. See, you never even had no questions. You just spewed out a lot of disrespect and a lot of your own personal opinions. Question things, brother, before you start to form opinions about your reality. And then, on top of that, you got to take some responsibility for your circumstances. I don't know you. I don't know nothing about you. But from the way you express yourself in your videos, you express a lot of self-hatred. Now, if you even deny that you have self-hatred, then you start to make me wonder, are you the enemy in disguise? You might not even be a brother. For all I know, you might be Kilo 34. Because this guy never shows his face, and you're not showing your face. What other thing that we come to the... What else could I conclude? You know? We are doing everything we can to try to make our people conscious and aware of our environment, in this government, in this system. We want to try to articulate and get people to comprehend what white supremacy really is. And see, white supremacy ain't white men running around with sheets and with Nazi fatigue on, running around here talking about they hate blacks. It's a system. I mean, we so used to it that we wouldn't even know if we woke up tomorrow morning and it was all gone, we'd know right away. I mean, you know, we so used to it. It's just like a person all their life and study rocks on the ground. There was diamonds on the ground, and we so used to them and that we would never stop to think, wait a minute, those are diamonds, because we'd be so used to them. I'm not trying to sound real smart. You know, I choose not to use big words because, I mean, you want the average person to understand exactly what you're talking about. You know, I'm not trying to be overly articulate because all that's a bunch of jive. We're trying to reach out to the common brothers and sisters. And this is not an outfit. This is not some organization that we represent in the reality temple on earth. We have a goal, and that goal is to enlighten the black youth. Do you understand what I'm trying to get you to see? Now, I really don't have much to say about that, but you need to check yourself and grow up, man. Grow up. And instead of leaving comments and messages on our videos, come to the Blog Talk Sunday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. and voice your opinion. Give us some room to have open dialogue back and forth with you, okay? Instead of just leaving these one-way comments to where we can't reach out to you and communicate. What you afraid of? Are you afraid that we're going to make more sense than you are? So think about what I'm saying, man. This is not an attack against you, but we're not exactly happy with the way you conduct your video using them brothers' pictures and names on them. That was very juvenile, and that was cowardly. Now, if you take that as disrespect, that's on you, man. But I'm done. Peace out. This is AndreDedmond69 of the Realities Temple on Earth, student administrator of Action. I'm going to leave it at that. Peace out. What's happening, YouTube? I am AndreDedmond69, student administrator of Action for the Realities Temple on Earth. And I'm here to announce that we will be having a blog talk coming up this Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time. All are welcome. Hopefully this will be, we can have an open forum and have some open dialogue back and forth where we can discuss a serious problem that's within the black community, and that's the gap between the black elders and the black youth, and how we fell out of touch in communicating with one another, and where the black youth feel that they don't need to look up to us because we wasn't there as positive role models. We wasn't there to nurture them and to support them as they was growing up in this kind of society. Now, whether you're a black elder, a black youth, or a young adult, or a non-black, you are welcome and encouraged to attend this blog talk. And if it's possible, we would like to open the lines up immediately after our formal introductory of the Reality Temple on Earth, so everyone can get a chance to have their minute to a minute and a half comment, question, or whatever you want to share with us. I want to make it clear that this is not a debate, this is not a smear campaign, and this is not a blog talk for anyone's entertainment. This is purely constructive value, information, and dialogue, opinions, comments, and questions. We want for us to fill in the gap between the youth and the elders for future generations, for our children, and for their children. We want to be able to reach out to the black youth and let them know that many of us were misled and didn't have the social skills and the parenting skills in order to be a constructive role model for the younger youth. I want to make it clear that if you're looking for entertainment, if you're looking for a debate, please look elsewhere. I'm quite sure there's other channels on YouTube or even on BlogTalk where you can get that kind of entertainment, but we're not here for that. The call-in line is 917-889-7202. All are welcome, as I said before. I am AndreDedmond69, Student Administrator of Action for the Reality Temple on Earth. We hope to meet you there. Peace out.
Welcome to the Reality Temple on Earth. My name is Jeroen, and I would like to say that AngelsnupnupSEVEN isn't a racist at all. He's a good friend, and I owe him a lot of support, and I would like to say that we have one common goal, and that is psychiatry is worst scam on earth, okay? Because they drug people, they drug children, they give people more problems than they already have, and yeah, that's about it for the first video.
Welcome to Youcoon, the future of the Black Internet experience. The primary objective of Youcoon is the destruction of Black people through the advances of cyberspace technology. Youcoon is a branch of the Homeland Security Cyberwatch program. To learn more about Youcoon and its many anti-Black features, please select from our menu. Anyone can be a part of the Youcoon experience as long as you are a safe nigger who conforms to the values of the white power structure. When you take our polygraph test, the results must reveal that you harbor intense hatred for yourself, hatred for your own people, and a preference for your white oppressors. After you pass our rigorous examination, you may enjoy all that Youcoon has to offer: donk shaking, trap music, good fights, and much more. Every form of nigger culture imaginable is available on Youcoon. It is very important that all thoughts and ideas related to self-empowerment are eventually erased from the minds of Black people. In order to accomplish this, today's Black children must not be reminded of anything culturally empowering for Blacks. Be sure to visit Youcoon's new porn matrix. According to our advanced scientific laboratories, porn is anything sexual that distracts Black males from responsibility, self-reliance, nation-building, Black power, and other old-fashioned ideas that cause problems for the white supremacy establishment. Youcoon's porn matrix is fully loaded with an irresistible catalog of ass art. Most of our male users are very enticed by our porn matrix. The primary objective of Youcoon's porn matrix is to get Black males to waste all of their time and energy on masturbation. Our statistics reveal that progress in the Black community decreases along with every increase in Black male masturbation. The greater the amount of time that Black males spend seeking sexual gratification, the less time they spend working toward freedom for themselves and freedom for their people. This works out perfectly for Youcoon and our goal of destroying Black people. Youcoon, along with television and years of internet sexploitation, have succeeded in dehumanizing sex and also devaluing the Black woman. Black females serve our purpose best when she focuses on what she can contribute, sexually rather than culturally or intellectually. Our advanced biological sexual analysis reveal that Black women are perfect for providing all of our patrons with sexual pleasure. Users of Youcoon all agree that the Black woman's full lips are excellent for fellatio. Her large hips and buttocks generate excellent revenue for Yukun and all of our subsidiaries. It is our main objective that she focus all of her sexual abilities on pleasure rather than procreation. Eventually, the black woman will become a totally mindless sex machine who hates black men and loves white supremacy. The Negro black males on Yukun are encouraged to utilize our porn matrix. Our advanced research has shown that the mind of black males becomes weaker when he has been wasting his semen. When the black male engages in masturbation, unlike sexual intercourse, the only part of his body that is activated or excited is his genitals. Thus, the rest of his unexcited body is physically unable to replenish the sudden loss of life. Therefore, the effect of masturbating and constantly ejaculating to pornography causes the black man's mind to become inferior and drained. Keeping the black man under control depends greatly on Yukun's ability to contribute to his perverted sex addiction. According to the modern definition of terrorism as outlined by the Department of Homeland Security, black people collectively have always been terrorists to white supremacy. Runaway slaves were terrorists against white supremacy and oppression. Harriet Tubman was a terrorist, Nat Turner was a terrorist, Demark Vesey was a terrorist, and all other slave rebellions were form of terrorist activity. Marcus Garvey was a terrorist, Malcolm X was a terrorist, and the Black Panthers were terrorists. The hip-hop movement of the 1980s and 1990s was a terrorist movement. Therefore, any and all Negroes caught studying the works of these terrorists will be immediately suspended from Yukun. You will also be taken to Guantanamo Bay for further processing. Bonding between the black man and black woman is strictly forbidden. The bonding of the black man and black woman creates a highly dangerous compound to the white supremacy establishment. All of such bonds must be destroyed if we are to succeed in our goal of destroying all life on Earth. The black woman must never look to the black man for guidance or leadership. Likewise, the black man must never look to the black woman for advice or support. All forms of bonding are strictly prohibited and will be viewed as forms of terrorist activity. Black people are notorious for gaining power once they have learned the knowledge of their true history and true politics. Therefore, Yukun requires rejection and ridicule of anyone studying black history and or black politics. We emphasize that you must be a conforming Negro to be a part of the Yukun experience. The purpose of Yukun is to destroy any chance of the re-emergence of black civilization, for this would lead to the destruction of white supremacy. Just like the rest of the websites hosted by Internet 2, Yukun also requires a small fee. For just 30 Ameros a month, you can enjoy all that Yukun has to offer. We also accept RFID payment scans. Simply place your hand beneath your biochip scanner and place your order. Thank you for supporting www.yukun.com. Goodbye.